I try not to talk about anything depressive. Politics is definitely a no-no.
Yeah.
Especially when my wife's on.
That's definitely a no.
But, you know.
I hate talking politics on stream.
It is
I've had
probably one of
people
the
try
worst
to do
things
it
ever,
with me
'cause-
before. I've had people try to bring up politics, and I just go, no.
Yeah, it's like, we'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Mm. Right.
Are you broadcasting now?
Yeah, I'm broadcasting now, yeah.
Giggity giggity. Giggity goo. Stick around.
The hell. I do the Quagmire thing and she doesn't like it. She don't like it.
I have a fucked up sense of humor, so... Is it alright if we swear?
Yeah, no problem swearing, that's fine.
Alright. Because I know some people, like, they're worried about the demonetization thing. Like, I used to be.
I'm not gonna get demonetized.
No,
I'm not bloody popular enough to
Now I'm just like, fuck it at this point. It's either that, it's either I get demonetized or get coppaed. I'm getting demonetized, fuck it. Because, you know, we have that stupid Paul here in us.
Dude, I do well with Legion. Seriously. I think he's more underrated than people that need to go motivated, isn't he? Did you see it, Mark?
My what?
Legion in Dead by Daylight is a lot more underrated than people make him out to be.
Yeah, if you use it, all it is you have to utilise him and his powers more than ever. You just have to use them how they're supposed to be used, not, you know, like, people don't use his power. They use it to smack someone and then unuse it just to go down them.
Yeah.
But for me,
which is what Monto was saying. He said a Legion's a good killer if you know how to use them.
Yeah, you just have to. Any killer's good. You just have to utilise them in the right way.
Yeah, like if you try to play, that's exactly what Monto said. If you try to play every killer the same way, you're gonna suck.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck up. You're gonna fail. It's just not gonna work. There we go. I'll put that on. So, right, sweetie, this is a game you've probably not. I think you've actually have seen it, but it's cool. I put this on just so that you could be involved because I wasn't playing anything at the time. I don't know what the fuck I smell. Could be chicken, could be toast. I don't fucking know anymore.
I've just got a couple of DLEs to do, Jess, at the minute, and then I'll jump on Survivor shortly.
You do know she
For
left,
once,
don't
I'm
you?
the youngest in the party instead of the oldest.
I'm the middle ground this time. I don't feel like the middle ground though.
Anakin, I have the high ground. I'm sorry.
You
I
underestimate my power. There was fucking memes all over that.
Speaking of which, I gotta show you guys a meme from TikTok. I'll play it in the mic. It's fucking hilarious. It's that Obi-Wan thing, except it's like he says, "I can't tell if you're dumb or just fucking special."
Wow.
Hang on, let me find it. It's way back, but it's like one of my favorites. I'll have it open a little bit. There it is.
I have the high ground.
Oh wait, let me start it over.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. Don't underestimate my power. Are you dumb or just fucking special? I've been training you for 13 long-ass years, and you still think having some sort of magical bullshit power is going to save your 3 little bitch limbs when I chop you up like Darth Maul? Not only am I more skilled than you, I'm on the motherfucking high ground. Have you ever read The Art of War? It says in bold, do not try and fuck with the high ground, Anakin. This is honestly the reason why you're not a Jedi Master. You're legitimately dumber than sand and more of a whiny emotional shit than your unborn grandson, Kylo. Also, you're my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Also,
I
you are
fucking
brother
love that
Anakin.
shit.
I love you.
Also, you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. Just how casual it was at the end. Oh my god, that's the shit I like. Like, that's the part of TikTok I like.
Right, Jess is getting a mic at the weekend, dude. After the
Okay.
weekend.
What, tomorrow?
Okay.
I I just
No,
re-liked it, so
after
then
the
it'll
weekend,
be
she said.
quicker.
Oh, after the weekend. Okay.
Yeah, that's some of the memes I like on TikTok. Are you dumb or just fucking special? I've been training you for 13 long ass years.
That's not good. You can't open it, sweetie. It's not good at all. Ah, shit. Here we go. Come on then, you bastard. Come on.
I love playing Legion though. You scare so many people because they don't know how to counter him. I think because it's because Legion's hard. Legion in general is quite difficult to counter when he goes into his power, isn't he? Though that's the only thing.
Oh, but I don't have an issue with countering him. You know,
No, you just
I
have to
put
run
1,000 hours plus into that game. I'm not, I've gotten to the point where I kind of know how to handle most killers.
Yeah, I suppose.
So-
Same here.
Gaiatrix,
Yeah.
what's your view on Battlefront 2?
Don't play Star Wars games. Like I said, not really like I said before, not really a Star Wars fan. I don't mind it, but
He's not totally for it.
So who's the biggest Star Wars fan in here then? That is the question.
Oh god, I don't know, because for me, I do love Star Wars, but I don't
I'm a
know if I'm
super
a bigger
fan.
Star Wars fan than you.
Well, put you this way, I have a Stormtrooper head right next to me.
I don't have anything
I've
like
themed,
that. No
I've
memorabilia
themed
or
all my
pictures.
controllers to look like it's from Star Wars. I have an old Star Wars PlayStation that's out of commission, sadly, because the HDMI port just stopped working. Fuck you, old PlayStation. Let's see. I have every single Star Wars movie on at least some sort of either DVD or Blu-ray. The only one I don't have on Blu-ray yet is the prequel trilogy, and I will get up on that soon.
Just
I also-
because you have a lot of the stuff I don't think that. I mean, I can understand that's fandom as such, but I don't know whether you
That's
could say.
more of an obsession.
Yeah,
I'll be
I would
honest.
say definitely more of an obsession than super fan as such. Not that
Did
you're
I mention
not,
that I
but-
get obsessed over things I like?
Yeah, but then I'm the same.
Yeah, I have the original trilogy of Star Wars on VHS. It's the original theatrical uncut
fucking hell.
version.
Yep.
Because for years I've wanted the unaltered version, and I finally got it. I was excited.
Yeah. I can't
Because
remember
I
which
wanted to
bits
see it
are
without the
fucking-
bullshit CGI. I wanted to see it with the practical effects. I have two versions of I have the original trilogy on Blu-ray twice. I just realized that.
Oh,
Because I have the 20th Century Fox release, and then I have the recent Disney release.
Ugh.
And that's how you know I'm a super fan.
I've got the DVD. I mean, I've got the latest DVDs because I wanted to see what they were like. But I don't have the. I used to have all 6 of the
I've
original.
also been trying to download Harmy's despecialized edition so then I can view the unaltered version of the movie in Blu-ray. Because there's a guy who did a work on it where he found a legal loophole where he could do it.
Okay.
Where he edited the whole movie back to where it was originally. So he edited out a lot of the CGI stuff. He took some old footage, went over it, and redid everything. Like,
Okay.
he did a great job, and he's working on a 4K version of it right now.
Really?
Yeah, he's working on a 4K version of it, so I'm excited for that. Because that's one thing as a Star Wars fan, personally, I've always wanted. That's one of the things I've been obsessed about, is trying to get the original versions of the movie on Blu-ray. And it's basically, if Disney won't do it, then I will find a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. There's all that saying is really true.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere.
Which
there
is
will
funny
be.
with George Lucas trying to keep people from seeing the original versions of it. You do realize we live in a generation where you can type anything you want. It's like, this is kind of a vulgar one, but it's like, a kid can type in the word boob and see more boobs than anyone has ever seen in history. So, if you can do that quickly, if you want to find the unaltered version of Star
Then you'll
Wars,
find
you can.
it.
You will find it. It's somewhere on the internet. Somebody, even if it's the lowest quality version of it,
But it's there.
there's somebody out there who's recorded their TV as they're playing the movie, gotten away with it, and not had the video taken down.
Yes, this conversation is probably weird for you, sweetheart, but it's fine. It's fine. She's like, Star Wars? I hate Star Wars. She's not a Star Wars person.
So, with you personally, what are your views on the prequel trilogy?
You're talking about the Phantom Menace and all that lot?
Yes.
Okay, so I loved Phantom Menace, and that was the first one I officially went to see in the cinema. Absolutely loved it.
What about Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith, loved that one as well. It was very, obviously back then it was still quite moving because obviously it was the two brothers technically turned against each other, Attack of the Clones didn't think too much of, except obviously it showed that a Jedi, the most powerful Jedi, ignored the fact that he shouldn't fall in love and he did, and
Honestly,
so it would go.
The only thing I didn't like, the only thing I didn't like about the prequel trilogy was in the Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks. Fucking hate him.
My wife loves Jar Jar. She's gonna fucking get pissed at that.
Oh, sorry, but it's my personal opinion. I apologize.
Well, everybody's entitled to their personal opinion.
And the other thing that I really don't like is the way some of the dialogue was written. Like, for instance, that one line of, I don't like sand. It's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere. People blame the actor for not making that line convincing. I just think it's an example of shit writing. Personally, like, that line could have been written better.
It could have, and there's ways to apply it.
There are certain lines that you can't make sound good.
No.
I'd say the best actor in the entirety of the prequel trilogy has to be Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
He did a
definitely.
great job playing Obi-Wan.
Oh, definitely.
He made it convincing, and I would definitely like to see him return. And this is unpopular, but I actually enjoyed Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
Is that the guy that was doing
actually
Revenge of
enjoyed
the... that's the one who did Attack of the Clones and thingy, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was
I
in
liked
Attack
him.
of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, no, I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him a lot in those movies.
Why did a lot of people not?
And people give Jake Floyd a lot of shit for his portrayal of Anakin in The Phantom Menace, but first off, it's a kid.
Yeah,
so
but he's a kid.
you're
You
being
can
a
only
little
do so
harsh.
much with that,
Yeah. And it's like, second off, some of the lines, it's not really his fault.
No, he's just got given
I'd
the
say
lines you've got
blame
to do.
George Lucas on that one with how the lines
Oh, shit, died.
were written. Like, because George Lucas did a lot of the screenplay writing. So I'd say just like, and he directed the movie. It was the fact he didn't have as much input from people as he did in the original trilogy. Like in the original trilogy, Mark Hamill and people had the, I'll say, masculinity to kind of, not be too vulgar with it, to go up to George Lucas and say, hey,
What the fuck is this?
this line sucks.
What you mean
This
is people are
cannot be in
pussies
the movie.
nowadays.
Yeah, so it's like, that's kind of what happened with the prequel trilogy, is people didn't say anything to him, they just went along with it. Like Hayden Christensen just tried to make it the best he could.
Yeah, and
He
that's what
didn't
you
go
all
up to
sometimes
George
all you can
Lucas and say, hey, this line sucks. Why is this in here? We need to change it. Like, Harrison Ford threatened at one point to tie George Lucas up and make him say his own lines at gunpoint.
The hell?
Because of how bad one of the lines he had to read was.
He's like, fuck this, why don't you fucking read it? Gagged and hand-tied.
He basically said, I'll tie you up and I'll force you to say your own lines at gunpoint if you don't stop making me read these stupid lines and putting them in the movie. And it's like, the original trilogy, that's personally my reason for it being better. What are your thoughts on the sequel trilogy? Did you see the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, I saw all the old ones. I love Darth Vader. Absolutely love.
I'm saying the new trilogy.
Oh, the new trilogy.
Like
Okay. Don't know what to think of the very
Force
first one out of
Awakens,
the lot.
The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker.
Right. So I saw Rise of Skywalker, and obviously those were okay. They're not as good as some of the older ones, but the one I didn't really like too much was the first one of that new lot.
For me, I didn't mind The Force Awakens, although I thought it was a complete rehash of the original. Just slightly altered at some points. And I think that the character of Rey was kind of weak in my opinion. She seemed a bit overpowered to me, and there was like no character arc for her. Yeah. She was the same at the end of the trilogy as she was in the beginning. And it's not because she's a female lead either, it's just because it was poorly written.
Yeah.
I think it could have been written way better, and I think they focused too much on the fact of this is the first female lead, that's what matters, nothing else. No, you still gotta worry about good storytelling.
Of course you do, because that's how you get fucking copies sold. When you've got good
people will
storytelling,
tell me, well,
you get people
people will tell
invested.
me, well, people will say, you're being sexist because it's a female lead. If it was Anakin Skywalker doing that, Anakin Skywalker was overpowered in the prequel trilogy, and you're fine with that. But here's the thing. First off, there was an explanation. Second off, he wasn't overpowered in the first movie. The second one, he got his hand cut the fuck off.
Yep.
He got his arm chopped in half, so... Yeah, no. He's not that overpowered. Not only that,
guys,
but he had character
I can't hear
flaws.
shit.
Alright, mate.
I can't hear, sorry.
Alright, but anyways, like, he at least had character flaws. To me, Rey seemed like she was overtly flawless. That's me. This is from someone who's passionate about film. I'm gonna go into the realm of film when I'm older, and this is more of constructive criticism on the movies than anything. I don't hate them by any means. It's just, I think they could be a lot better. The Last Jedi, for me, is the worst out of all of them. And it's because they try and make it so serious, but they put in way too many jokes. They're trying to make it Empire Strikes Back and Deadpool at the same time. Which, it doesn't really mix that well when you're trying to be dark and funny.
Yeah, it's...
You can have some humor, but when it takes over the whole plot, like, even Empire Strikes Back had its moments of humor.
I'm sorry, but Us vs. Evil Dead would like a word with you.
Definitely had fucking humour in that.
But I'm saying, like, it's... The way they tried balancing it out in The Last Jedi didn't work. And I feel like they kind of screwed my boy Luke Skywalker. Like, there was... They didn't really give him enough of a reason to be so different.
Yeah.
Like, they had some sort of reason, I'll give them props for that, but... Otherwise, they just kind of shat on the character.
Sometimes.
And especially, like, Luke Skywalker is my favorite character, so I would like to have had a reason for it. A good reason.
Valid.
Because it seems out of character to me for him to do what he did in The Last Jedi, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. He seems like a complete stand-up guy in the original trilogy, and it seems like they just threw out his whole character arc and started him back over. Kind of like what they did with Solo Star Wars story with Han Solo. Like, it's the same character arc he had in the original trilogy. I think it would have made more sense.
So, there's that. He just
He
died
died
on
in
the
The
floor.
Force Awakens.
He died on the floor, so he's just kind of...
Well, he was actually pushed off. He was pushed off a bridge.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about the
to his
game.
death. Oh.
I killed all four. Wow, the rank differences, and I still managed to kill all of them.
Two completely different conversations at once.
Yep. This also is a tendency because obviously I'm playing my own game, you're playing whatever you're doing. Plus, we're talking about Star Wars. He's doing that.
Yeah, and it's like, with Rise of Skywalker, for me, that's the most meh out of it. because I was engaged and I enjoyed the movie, but at the same time, there's the issue of you never really know what's going on in the story. It seemed to move too fast for me. Did you see Rise of Skywalker yet?
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Alright, so, did your wife see it already? Or,
No,
like, is there anyone watching?
Of course, my wife
Or-
preferred the DVD conversation. She just fucking put it in my chat.
Basically, I'm not gonna say any spoilers,
Hold on,
but
Rise
it's
of Skywalker,
basically...
isn't that the brand
there
new
are-
one?
I really...
Yeah, I haven't
yes,
seen that
the
one.
newest one.
No, I haven't seen that
Yeah.
one
Alright,
yet.
so I won't spoil it,
Okay.
but there's a lot of points where it's like, moments that could have been powerful, they go back on.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
Like, there are a lot of points where you think a character is gonna die, and then they tell you, like, or you see a character die and then, oh, by the way, he's not really dead.
It's like, oh, for fuck's
Immediately after. They don't even give you time to even
sake. Feel
ponder the fact.
that somebody's
like, to
gone.
even... Like, you've seen Avengers Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made us wait a whole year for the conclusion of that. They made us think the whole time, like, oh my god, I just watched all of my favorite characters die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a long period of time where you could have that impact. I'm not saying wait a whole year for the conclusion of the
But
story.
you could, you know...
But I'm
there
saying,
is
like, you could at least have time in between if you're going to do that. Or here's one, go through with the death all the way.
Mhm.
Kill off the character completely. Because it would have been so much more powerful. Because it's like, there's only 2 characters that die in the entirety of the movie. I'm not going to say who they are, because that's a huge spoiler, but there's only 2 that actually die. The rest are all
yeah,
fake
there is
outs.
actually, isn't there? That's a
Yeah.
good point. I didn't even think of that.
Only 2 characters really die in the whole movie. But there are like 10 other fake outs.
That's a good point.
So it's like... And
Not
they
just the
also
movie,
introduce
not
things...
just the movie though either. The
It-
last 3 movies, the last 3 Marvel movies. Before,
Well,
before,
I'm saying
before,
the Star Wars
before
movies.
Endgame, the last 3 movies before Endgame, and even in Avengers, yeah.
I'm talking about Star Wars right now.
Oh. Star Wars.
Yeah,
Fuck Star
I'm
Wars.
saying like in the most recent Star Wars movie, only 2 characters died. The rest of them all fake out deaths. Where you thought the character was gonna die or you thought he was dead. And then it's like, next scene, by the way, this guy's okay.
Right, gonna mute it this
That's-
time round, please.
yeah, that's
Just
cool,
have a
dude.
chat, 'cause I'm gonna go. Alright.
It's just... To me, that just seems like bad story writing. You know?
Yeah, I understand
It seems like poor story writing. I'm not saying don't see the movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that. I do recommend you see the movie, make your own opinion on it,
Of
but for
course.
me, the pacing's a little too fast. I couldn't keep up with any of the plot, and that's even someone like me who breaks down every little detail of every little frame as I'm watching it. Because I go insanely in detail. I'm basically my own movie critic. I criticize movies all the time. Look at, alright, here's how it could have been written better, here's why maybe the audience didn't like it so much.
Yeah.
Because it's split pretty much 50-50 on half the people who watched the movie liked it and half of them didn't. Which is the most split I've ever seen a Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah.
Like, even The Phantom Menace, when that came out,
Yeah.
a
I
lot
have
of
seen
people
some of
hated
this.
it, but another thing too, I don't get why people give prequels so much crap either. I don't
No, 'cause
get
they
why
were
they give them
good.
so much shit. Because it's like, not only that, but personally, I feel partially responsible for George Lucas selling Disney because I was a part of that, where I was on the prequel hate train for a long time.
And now Disney own
But
it, and it's like, Jesus
as-
Christ.
As I got older personally, like, I started realizing, okay, these aren't really that bad.
No. It's because our
They're
opinion
not
changes
great
as we
by
get
any
older, our
means. They're not
perception
perfect by any means. I mean,
No.
the original trilogy is still the best.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. My favorite out of all of them is Return of the Jedi. That's my personal favorite.
Isn't the third one?
The third one to ever be released.
Yeah, that was
That's the one with
where
the
Luke has the
Ewoks.
green lightsaber and he goes up against his father.
Yeah, that's the one where the Ewoks are in it too.
Yeah.
Which were a very controversial topic of that movie, but I actually didn't mind it because if you take all the Ewoks out, it's a really dark movie. Like, you kind of needed the Ewoks there to balance
Just to
it out
kind
a
of
little
lighten
bit.
it up a bit, you know.
Just because, like, they are trying to show the movie to kids at the same time.
Yeah, give them Ewoks.
And
Make
The
them
Empire
happy.
Strikes Back was already dark as it was. So you need a little bit of lightheartedness, which is why, like, certain ways, like with The Last Jedi, how they wrote that, I get wanting to put comedy into it. I get the comedic relief. But it could have been done better. It could have been done so much better.
I mean, to be honest, you can always do something better. You can just only try and improve upon it.
I personally didn't like how they did it, though. That's just me. I think they should have been more serious at certain scenes. They should have gone a little darker with it. I'm not saying all the way to DC Universe dark, but I'm saying, like, it was supposed to be the darkest movie in the trilogy. And it seemed like every other movie.
Yeah, it didn't seem as
It seemed like The Empire Strikes Back, except everything that was set up in the previous movie, they tell you, fuck off. You're not getting an answer. Like, you saw The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure. Alright. It's like, we wanted to know who Snoke was. Instead of knowing who Snoke was, here's his cut-in-half body. The fuck? Like, really? We wanted an answer, instead you just give us his cut-in-half body and say, fuck you. Who are Rey's parents? They're nobody. It doesn't matter. Would have at least given us a good explanation.
Yeah, but then you think of who's Anakin's father, you know.
And then, in all the sequel trilogy, they just add in certain powers that are just like, why didn't they use that in the previous movies?
Did they only just discover
And
it?
it's like, that light speed jump at the end of the movie with Admiral Holdo, where she fucking light speeds through all the ships. It's like, why didn't they do that before?
Could have saved time.
Or it's like other powers that are revealed in Rise of Skywalker I won't name because they're spoilers. Why didn't they use it before?
Don't like it, especially being white. plus
You
they
think
make
that
the
Force
digital
users who have that power would use it instead of not using it. And that's why it's like, I don't really like the sequel trilogy because it doesn't get Star Wars. It tries too much to feel like Star Wars when really it just seems like if Star Wars was written by people who honestly didn't care about it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that pisses me off, is Disney put no effort.
No, and that's why I hate
They
the
just
fact
said,
that Disney have bought
they just
everything
said, here, do this movie, that's it. I don't care what you do with it. And it's like they tried getting political with it, which is another
no,
thing
just don't.
I don't like. Because, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but still, it shouldn't have been done the way it was.
No.
They focused too much on the wrong things. They were trying to get in new audiences while alienating their original.
Yeah, and you need to keep
Like, to
everybody
me,
happy if you want the maximum.
Personally,
audience.
as a Star Wars fan, I felt like I was being shat on every step of the way in the sequel trilogy.
and and that is the
Because
thing.
it was like, everything that I wanted answers to, plot holes I wanted to be filled, they basically told you, fuck you. Like, who are Rey's parents? Doesn't matter. Who's Snoke? Doesn't matter. Why did Luke suddenly not like the Jedi? Doesn't matter. That's the only answer we get throughout the entire sequel trilogy is doesn't matter. And even Rise of Skywalker does that with some things. Where it'll make you ask questions, and then it'll tell you doesn't matter. And that's my biggest problem with the sequel trilogy. So, I am a huge movie critic, but it's like, for me, I think the Disney franchise that has done the best in the past couple years is Marvel. Because I think where Star Wars went wrong is they tried doing what Marvel's doing.
Yeah, and that's not what they should be doing because it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Because Star Wars is a different thing. But, like, for instance, Avengers Endgame is the best movie I've ever seen. Hands down. Because of the fact
it's
it's
the best movie I've ever seen, but it's a pretty fucking good one.
Seems like the perfect ending to a story. To me. the emotional moments hit.
At the right
Oddly
moments.
enough, for a Marvel film, it was able to balance being dark and comedy at the same time, something The Last Jedi failed to do. But it was also, like, coming from a dark place, but it was trying to make it, like, trying to make the best of it, we're trying to fix it. Doing what they could. And I enjoyed the way they ended it and how each plot hole, each character arc was closed off respectfully.
Yeah.
Like Tony Stark's arc had an end. Black Widow's had an end. The Hulk's, while a little rushed, had an end. Thor actually had a good arc for once. Because, let's be honest, they kind of fucked it up with the first two Thor movies. The first two Thor movies were the weakest of their phases.
I did like.
I'm
I
sorry,
think.
it's true.
I think the second one was definitely weaker than the first one, though.
Yes, the first one was alright.
Was
The
that
second one was weak.
decent-ish?
And I think it was also because it had a weak villain too. That was always a problem with Marvel though, is weak villains. And I'd say that's another reason why Endgame and Infinity War are two of the best movies of all time.
Because it had a
Because
strong
of the
fucking
way
villain.
they executed Thanos. Because of the way they executed the character, they made you feel sympathy for him, while showing you he's in the wrong at the same time.
You see,
So it's like you
the humanity of
almost
someone.
feel bad. You almost feel bad for Thanos. You understand where he's coming from, but you also, you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you see where he's coming from, you see why he's trying to do it. And it's not just, I want to do it because I want to take over the world. Like with other villains in movies, like, why do you want to take over the world? Because I do. And a lot of movies have that generic movie villain, number one. Like, for instance, in the first Iron Man movie, that was generic villain number one. Iron Man 2, generic villain number 2. Incredible Hulk, generic villain number 3. And it just keeps going on, like it's just generic villain after generic villain. We got Loki.
And Loki was pretty
Personally, I'd say Ultron was also a good villain. I think he's underrated. I think people give Ultron too much shit. I think Ultron was a good character.
cool.
And
I
had a
ain't
lot
got
of
nothing
potential.
bad to say about Ultron.
Because it's like, he had the same mentality Thanos did, where he was trying to end humanity, not just because he wanted to, but because he thought that was the only way to save the world.
Yeah.
Like, the only way to save the world is if we get humans off it, because they seem to be the main threat.
Well, and that's reality in this, in reality,
And-
unfortunately, as well.
I could
People are the
see
problem.
where Ultron was coming from. I could see where he was coming from on that stance. Like, yeah, I could see where all you think is logic and you have no emotion, because Ultron didn't have
Yeah, if you're
any
detached from shit
emotion.
like that, you don't have to worry about the decisions you make, because you don't feel attached to, you know,
Because
ends and everything.
he just thought of it as a bunch of numbers going through his head, basically. Just like, well,
The logic says, just do it well.
statistically speaking, it's better to kill off a few billion people to save everything else on the planet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same mindset with Thanos, where it's like, kill half of everybody, the other half will thrive.
Yeah.
Which, granted, that thought process with Thanos is flawed, because that wouldn't even work in practice. But you still see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
You understand why he thinks
You understand
that
the
way.
ideology of it.
Yeah. While you don't agree with it, you can at least see where he's coming from, and like, yeah, I mean,
There's understanding.
when you think of it that way, it sounds like it would work. And Thanos, his character flaw is when he wants to do something, he commits to it, and he does it.
Like, when he killed Gamora, though, you could see the remorse that he didn't want to do it. He had no choice.
Yeah, it's like you almost felt bad for Thanos in that scene.
Because she was like, ha, you don't love anything, but he did love her like a daughter.
And like, then you see the tear come to his eye, and then it's like, at that point, that's when I knew this where the scene was going.
However,
like,
though, with
shit.
not Gamora, the other one, I can't remember her name.
Nebula.
Sister. Nebula. Yeah, he didn't do much for her though. Butchered her and made her become a machine.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I think what it is the character of Thanos has a twisted idea of love.
Mm.
He doesn't really understand too much about what it really is. He thinks what he was doing with Gamora and Nebula
Well,
was
the
love.
right thing to do. You know, that was love.
He thought that was showing he was caring. He didn't realize that was wrong. Same thing with, oh, we'll just kill off half the population and the other half will be fine.
Hmm.
But here's the thing with that, then the population will go right back up there and you'll have to do it ever so many thousand years.
Yeah, just kind of like
It'll be undone quickly.
Purge.
And then Endgame, he said, well, I guess the only way to save the universe is to just end it and create a new perfect one. Which again, flawed logic, doesn't
Because
work.
the same issue would happen again anyway.
Yeah, same issue where how would you know it would be perfect?
Mm-hmm.
It's
thing
just
is,
that thing.
There is no perfect. You know, and you know, the way I look at it is more of a perfect world would be less technology, even though I love technology and I really do love technology. A more perfect world would be less technology. Because it's natural, isn't it?
And it's like, to me, I don't see Thanos as evil. I see him as misled. Because good and evil depend on the intentions. If you do bad things for good reasons, are you still bad? Well, it depends. I wouldn't consider, like, Thanos evil because of the fact he seems misinformed.
Yeah, I think for...
He's misinformed. He thinks it's seriously gonna work. He has good intentions behind it.
Because he wants something good to come out of it. However...
Yeah, and he
You have
thinks
to look
that's
at
the
the other
way to
side
do
of
it,
that as
when
well.
really, it's an oversimple solution. It's an oversimplified solution. It wouldn't work in practice, but he doesn't get that. He's doing it because he thinks it's right. Which is why I wouldn't call Thanos evil.
Deranged.
I'd say he's wrong.
Yeah,
I'd say
definitely
he's wrong.
But he's deranged, I would say, is maybe a more right word, because even if you're deranged, you can still have, you know, good intentions. But how you go about them is completely
It's
fucked
again,
up and
he
wrong.
has twisted ideas. He doesn't really get how things truly work. Like, he doesn't get the fact that if he snaps his fingers and wipes out half of the population, it's just going to be right back up there anyways. If he tries creating a perfect universe, how do you know your idea of a perfect universe is perfect?
Yeah, and there's no such thing as perfect in this life, and I don't think there is in any life or any universe.
Because it's like, it's impossible to have something without flaws. And Thanos was in the mindset of, that's how it has to be. There's no other way. This is how I'm going to do it, this is the right way, and he was just so dead set on it. When, again, we think of it and it's like, no, that's not the way it works. And plus, it's the fact of, too, there's got to be another way other than just killing everybody.
Like a different
Because
solution.
mass
but-
genocide doesn't really work in that instance. And I will say, like, another reason why he isn't evil is because the fact of he was doing it indiscriminately. Like, he wasn't even gonna know who died. I'm pretty sure he even included himself in the possible area of that half of the universe. He could have very well wiped out himself. But he was doing it indiscriminately, and he was doing it because he thought it was the right thing.
Yeah.
Again, wrong, yes. Evil, not
Not so
necessarily.
much. A bit, but not to the point he's a major villain.
I think evil would have to be based on your intentions.
So, okay.
If you have good
what about-
intentions, it
how
doesn't make
about
you
we
good,
say
but it doesn't make
tainted
you
then?
evil.
Because to some degree he was. He didn't do things the right way, even though he might have had...
I think he had good intentions, therefore, at heart, he's a good person, but he's wrong in a
Yeah.
lot of his
Morally
beliefs
wrong,
and
you mean.
misled. he's misled and, like you said, deranged.
Yeah. So
He has
morally
a
wrong
twisted
is more
sense of
appropriate.
reality.
Yeah.
He has a twisted view of reality. He doesn't think as logically as a lot of people do. He saw it as pure numbers based, well, as where it was. He's ignorant, basically. Because he thinks, well, there's too little crops, too little food and resources. So if we cut the population in half,
There'll be enough for everybody.
then there will be enough for everybody.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it in practice, that doesn't work. Even
and
as far as if you tried doubling the resources, which would have made more sense. Like, why wouldn't you just double the resources?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's not impossible, but
Again, he thought that killing half the population was the only way to do it, which...
you know.
understandable how he could come to that conclusion, I guess. Does it make sense? No. Is it fine that it doesn't make sense? Yeah. Because, I mean, it's a villain. He's supposed to be kind of like... You can tell he's messed up in the head. You know? But still.
I
That's
think
like
we'll,
why...
I was just saying, I think
That's
we'll
why-
end things on the Thanos situation there, because this conversation's
Yeah.
getting a little bit stale now.
But yeah, that's why I like the Marvel films, personally.
Marvel films have been good ever since they came out, because I think the first time I ever saw one was Iron Man, and I loved it.
I saw Iron Man, like, I watched all of the Marvel films a week before Infinity War came out, because I watched all the Avengers movies in theaters, but I skipped over the other ones because I was only interested in the Avengers movies
Oh, fair enough, because it had everyone
until
in it.
Infinity War came out, and then before that I rewatched every Marvel film to catch up on it. And Iron Man, I'd say, is a really good story, is a good introduction to a story. And Iron Man is the character who starts and ends the story.
Okay, my wife says this isn't making her feel any better, so we need to stop talking about it now. We're here to distract my wife. We must do it. So, what other games are you into anyway? Have you played horror games or anything?
The only horror game I've played is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Kyle knows
It's a
what it
game.
is. I don't.
It's a game about animatronics that try and kill you in the middle of the night, basically, and you have these doors, and there's a power limit, so you have to use your power wisely.
Okay.
And the only way to find out where the animatronics are is to search through the cameras,
Okay.
which also takes up power.
Oh.
I'm in trouble.
So it's like you have to figure out a way to conserve power while keeping them out of your office.
Okay. Doesn't sound like something I'd be too much interested in. I love Resident Evil. If
I've never played that game, but I heard it's
Oh.
really good.
Okay, so like a lot of the older ones, okay. This is the thing. I was born in a time where I was around
Well,
just.
that was
before.
fun.
Bit of a sicko. See, I was born in a time where the first Resident Evil hadn't even come out yet. Then it came along eventually, and I was about 7 years old. Then it came out, and I actually got into Resident Evil 2, the original, and I loved it. So if I was to say to you, Resident Evil for you to try out first, I would suggest Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's a lot fucking cheaper now, so you might actually be able to afford it at some point. You know, it's a lot cheaper. And I tell you what, I had a lot of fun on that. I platinumed the
Are
game.
you okay, Gaiatrix?
He's crying himself. So,
I just love that. So I just had to end the start of the game for about the first
You
boss.
sound like you're about to turn into the Joker.
no, don't. You're not the Joker.
That
goddammit.
definitely sounded like the Joker laugh.
No, basically what happened is I had two of the survivors clicking flashlights in my face every time I tried to do anything. So I got the merciless by the end of the game. The last one was down. I carried them around, let them think I was going to give them a hatch, dropped him a little bit away from it, slammed it in the face, and downed him again with the adrenaline.
Oh, nice.
I was thinking, if you're going to be toxic, then so am I.
Fair enough.
And the beauty part, the most amusing part of that is, that was the game that just got me the Merciless in the green rank killer.
Oh, wow.
I just picked up the green rank. I've just picked up the green rank as killer.
Oh, wow. I'm rank 12 as a killer, I think, but I don't play killer enough to really go red ranks.
I play an equal amount of both, otherwise I probably would have been at least purple rank in one of them by now.
I mean, I play more survivor than I do killer, but I'm still not shit with
I'm
killer.
going with some solo. I'm going to play some solo survivor now and see if I can get me pips from there as well.
Dude, tell you what, if you do that, the next game you go to do, let me know, I'm jumping in. You won't have to save me. I'm going to do my build where I can save my own ass, alright?
Alright, I'll let you focus on other people then.
Yeah, I can focus on... I died again. Bullshit. Okay, sweetie, I'm going to call it there. And I'll jump on DVD now, actually. Just bear with me a sec, sweetie, alright? I'll get the upload going in a sec.
Tell us about your voting experience in Rhode Island. I'm under legal voting age, so...
I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go to the toilet. I'm going to get something to eat.
Alright. Right. Bear me one sec, sweetheart. I'll get the broadcast up and running for DVD in a sec, alright?